I'm only on the second chapter of Higurashi, and I already know that I'll never forget the sound of those damn cicadas. The first chapter immersed me in Hinamizawa even though I'd already been spoiled by the poorly marketed Go anime adaptation back during COVID. Its story is largely applauded by both visual novel and anime fans, so it was no wonder that it managed to do that. So, obviously, if you're interested in reading it, you'll go on Steam, buy it, boot it up, and be treated with what the hell is that? Higurashi no Naku Koro ni, or When the Cicadas Cry, is an intense mystery that uses its status as a visual novel to fully engage you in its story. In the first chapter alone, if you haven't burned into your mind the sound of the Higurashi, then you're obviously doing something incorrect. It's a very atmospheric work that relies on the writing, sound, and its visuals to put you into its deepest mysteries. So there was obviously going to be a debate sparked once that work started to get portrayed in different ways, whether it be anime, manga, or a console port that entirely changed the art style. The choice between Higurashi's original, console, and Steam sprites is probably a choice on par with choosing your first starter Pokemon. It's just that important. So while I'm reading through this story, I wanted to say my piece on this debate, and why Ryukishi's original sprites are the obvious favorites. The best reason I can give for why Ryukishi sprites are the best to play Higurashi with are because of the expressions. The sprites are simply far more expressive than the other two, and it adds so much to the experience. They have more soul, if you will. Take this Mion sprite, for example. It's meant to portray her cocky nature, and her dumbass hand gesture honestly does a lot of work. Then when you move on to the console sprite, she's still doing the same hand gesture, but a lot of the emotion in her face is lacking. It's not terrible, but not nearly as charming as what's on display in her original sprite. Then you get to this. What the hell is she even doing? Where's her hand gesture? Like, the arm being raised is not the same thing. She just looks like even more of an idiot than she already is. This further extends to Reina's sprites. The original sprite is already probably the most iconic piece of artwork from the whole franchise, so the console sprite had its work cut out for it. I don't particularly dislike it, but I don't think it's exactly winning if it were to run the ones with the Ryukishi artwork. And then again, you get to the Steam sprite. I don't think it's nearly as bad as Mion Steam sprites, but they just look off to me. It's not something you can really describe, it's just a vibe that they give off, that is especially more apparent in the game. It just does not tick the same boxes. I'll say now, I don't absolutely despise the Steam sprites, but they are such an obvious downgrade from both the original and console sprites that I really could not recommend playing with them at all. The only thing that I think they really have going for them is that they are kinda creepy, but look at this and tell me it's not the stuff of nightmares. It's just no match. As you can probably tell, I pretty much completely disregarded the Steam sprites when choosing what to play the game with, so the real choice was between the console and the original sprites. The biggest stickler is honestly the fact that I preferred half the cast with the original sprites and then the other half with the console sprites. The biggest example of this is the younger kids, Rika and Satoko. I find their console sprites to be a lot more natural than the original sprites, sort of in a similar way to me finding the original sprites to be more fitting than the console sprites for Mion and Reina. Take these Satoko sprites for example. She just looks a lot better to me on the console side of things, in a way that the original sprites are not. However, I did still end up picking a read with the original sprites, and not just because Mion and Reina edged out the other two for me, but mainly because still, to a certain extent, the original sprites have a charm to them that doesn't make the switch too bad. Satoko is a damn gremlin. Just look at her. Although I don't think her sprite looks as great, she is just so visibly a little snarky piece of crap, and it aligns with her so well. It gets across her character, even if I don't think the sprite is all that great in and of itself. Again, for the record, I just want to get across that I don't entirely despise the Steam sprites, as they're pretty objectively not bad, and I know damn well I could never make something as polished as them, but they just pale in comparison to not only the original sprites, but the console sprites too. So if you're in the market to read Higurashi and want to know which sprites to pick, then I'd say to just go with either the original or console sprites, as they are both pretty well done and will suit the characters they're portraying. If you want to go for the Steam sprites, I guess you can too, you know? Nothing stopping you. Alright, now that I'm done talking and making a video about Higurashi, I can finish reading it.